install, fiber artist, rope tufter.
Hey, I'm London Kaye. I crochet, and my Instagram's made by London.
Hi, I'm Molly Sydnor, and my Instagram is Molly Margaret Designer, and I'm a multidisciplinary artist.
I'm Alli K. My Instagram is Alli K Design, and I am an illustrative artist.
Hey, I'm Jackie Lawrence. My Instagram handle is Forest Fibers, and I'm a fiber artist.
I'm Twinkie Chan. My Instagram handle is Twinkie Chan, and I'm a crochet artist.
I'm Niki Dionne, and of actual footage of me, and I'm an illustrator and fiber artist.
We are going to talk about the art of discipline as it relates to your installations. My first question for everyone is, why is discipline important in big install work?
Because there's so much to do.
Yeah.
Can't even comprehend it some days.
To stay on schedule, like stay on track. If you have a really large installation with a lot of moving parts and you have them all planned out, you have a deadline, they obviously have a certain amount of time you can spend on them. And so your day has to revolve around a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of that. And then the next day is maybe where you're playing a little catch up, but you're still doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then towards the end you're like, hey, can you come over and help me? Or, because you just start getting behind, things take a lot more time than you think they're going to.
Yeah, like estimate how much time and then add like 4 times.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important though to love what you're doing, because I think it's so much easier to be disciplined, stay on schedule, say no to everything, single other thing in the world, because you have to get this one project done. It's way easier when you actually love what you're doing. So I think we're lucky.
And even loving what you do, it's still hard to say no to.
Oh, that was the hardest thing. I knew that this was happening, and I was like, okay, the whole month of February, I'm not going to do anything else but Sweet Tooth, but I still love everything else that I do outside of Sweet Tooth. So things like Crippled and then I'm like,
And telling your friends and family that you can't do anything or you can't see them. Like, I didn't get to go home for Christmas. My boyfriend went to see his mom and came back Christmas morning to spend with me, but 2 Christmases in a row now I haven't seen my family because I've been on projects with crazy deadlines and there's just no time. I literally am just like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
But
It's
I'm
exhausting.
drowning here. It is.
It's so hard to say sorry to for me, it's like you just have to lock yourself in and do it, and then you apologize later. So and the friends that are left are the ones that
it helps when
stay.
they're supportive of you and
definitely.
they're like, yeah, we see that you're working your butt off.
I think every once in a while too, it's important to reward yourself and say okay, I'm gonna take these couple of hours off so I can have a drink, watch some TV with friends. I keep telling my friends after April,
I know.
we'll all have so much fun together.
I know, but that never happens. I always was like, I'll do life after my to-do list. Like, I need to get my to-do list done first, and then I'll do Alli, done. My to-do list will never stop ending, so you have to take breaks in between those projects. That breaks my heart that you did that. I would have slapped you and said no.
But
go to Christmas.
I could not. I literally could not. Because at the end of those deadlines, I was all-nighters. It was just I seriously.
Because it creeps up on you. You're like, oh, I have this much time. I have this much time. I have this much time, and then you forget how long it takes.
Yeah, working that long is hard on your body.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm getting older, so I wind up hurting to the point where I have to take a break.
Yeah.
Well, that creeps into my schedule. So with Sweet Tooth, I knew that I was doing a very laborious medium now method, and I tried to build in days where I wasn't working. So in my schedule, I'm like, I have to have this much time and this many days for rest, because otherwise my body's going to give out on me, or I might hurt myself, and then I can't do anything. So.
And that's discipline within itself.
Yeah.
So even scheduling, like you were saying, that 2-3 hours, scheduling the off days, that is also part of the discipline.
I learned the hard way by not doing it. With Sweet Tooth, because they were so cool and so generous, I could.
Yeah.
With my other clients, I could not.
Yeah.
And so it's next and going forward, I'm building it in. I'm never going to leave it out again because of how important I know it is now.
Well, it makes you sick and it makes you lose sleep, and then you lose sleep.
Your work
and not
suffers.
Your work
sadly,
suffers.
You rush or you
You never you never know what your limitations are until you push yourself to the limit
Yeah.
either.
And then you lose days.
Yeah.
You get sick and you lose a week.
Right.
Yeah, so it's almost worse to push yourself too
Or
hard.
double work. Double work
Yeah.
is such a thief.
Yes.
You rush and you make a mistake, then you have to do it over, and you're out all that time, and then you're like, oh crap.
And it takes longer to redo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love redoing stuff.
So that goes into my question. So have y'all been disciplined with y'all's concepts?
Yes.
Of like the
Yes.
original concept that y'all chose, like have y'all stuck to that pretty closely, or has it kind of evolved into like when y'all are creating, has it changed?
Mine has stayed, my concept always stays,
Yeah.
but it's the elements around the concept. Some get dropped because they take too long.
Yeah.
Some get added because they'll look better.
Uh-huh.
So the concept is always solid ground for me. And of course there's wiggle room with concepts for me. I can always add things, I can always tweak things, but the concept has stayed the same. And then my ideas are usually just insane, so a lot of them have dropped off.
Yeah.
But all in all, it's going to be a curated installation of what it needs to be.
Yeah. What about you, London?
Well, I think going back to like the big scale things, like I like to draw everything out exactly like what it's gonna look like down, and like doing that step is so important, I think, because then when I do start to execute it, I know exactly what I'm doing and usually don't waver too much. But sometimes if something looks bad,
Yeah.
of course I'll fix it. But yeah.
And extra ideas, you always want to be able to add things if
Oh yeah, more
if it's possible, yeah.
But yeah, the drawing's really helpful.
Yeah.
I have to like remind myself that like whatever doesn't get done, no one else would know except me. Yeah.
Yeah, I've made concessions a little bit on, like the concept is the same, it's just a different medium that's gonna now execute this one part. So instead of tufting, it's gonna be another medium. But it's still the same image, it still like looks the same, it's actually better, you know, like the contrast between what the tufting and other mediums, and so it's worked out. But I like redoing stuff too. If I don't think it's right, I'm going to redo it. And if it takes extra time, it does. And that's just all there is to it, because at the end of the day, I'm the one that has to live with what I did. I want to love it. I want to feel good about it inside.
And your name's on it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I was gonna try to be disciplined in the fact of like I'm bringing yarn into my space, and I'm like, I am gonna do it. I'm going to latch hook, I'm gonna cross stitch, and I started kind of really digging deep into that. I'm like, nope, hot glue.
Yes.
Yep.
I was gonna cut all of my panels with a hot knife and then sew them.
Wow.
And the first cut set the weaving on fire. So I had to
Is that
like,
with acrylic?
yes,
Yeah.
because I mean, but I use acrylic for work and we use a hot knife. So I was, so I bought the hot knife.
I need a hot knife.
Yeah, and so it didn't work.
How do you stay focused and consistent, and how do you also stay motivated?
There is a kind of sweet spot within like stress and anxiety. Too much of it can cripple you. Too little of it doesn't get you kind of pep in your step. So you have to kind of find that good medium balance of just enough but not too little.
Yeah, you have to be on the right side of stress and anxiety too.
Yeah.
Like I've definitely had days with this project where I'm very unmotivated to get out of bed because I have to think I have to do this, and that today, and I don't feel like I can, or I'm afraid that I'm not going to be able to, and so I'm just going to stay right here instead of being disappointed later. But of course that sets you back, and then I've also had days where I have these freak out moments, but I have to remind myself like why I'm doing this, what my hopes and dreams with this are, and I can come after
What
it
a
too.
huge opportunity it is.
Yeah. And so you just gotta like, you just have to fire yourself up a bit and put on a good song, and then that for me is like the right side of stress.
That's called high functioning anxiety. We're cutting it close here. The high functioning anxiety.
Yeah, I have that not wanting to get out of bed because the tufting hurts and I'm not hurting.
So what's like everyone's individual thing that like kind of gets them like going or motivated? Like, so for you, would that be like to play music or something, or?
Yeah, I think music gets me motivated and just being in like the right mindset and mood and feeling like I'm doing this I mean, I'm doing this great thing that I always wanted to.
Yeah. What about you, Twinkie? What gets you kind of like, if you feel down, like what kind of like brings you back up?
I feel like my work is so much about being happy that it's just colorful and I'm kind of there already.
Yeah.
But I think to keep me going is, instead of music, I start a TV show. Like I started
okay.
Grey's
Yeah,
Anatomy
that's
season 1.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
sit on the
Yes.
couch, crochet, and
Yes.
just go through all the seasons.
That's funny. I love people in shows. Like I fall in love with the characters so much that I want to like be around those people because the people are cool and like I'll put on a show that I've seen 1,000 times.
Yes.
I want to be able to focus on my work, so I can't really watch anything new.
Yeah.
So being in a familiar space with familiar people, even if they are just characters, is like
Yeah.
What about you, London?
I like to start with something maybe that I already know how to do. Like there's all these elements that are so maybe complicated and complex that if I get to a place where I'm overwhelmed, I'll be like, okay, I can at least crochet this part that I already know what it is.
Yeah, start
Get
with
it
the simple.
done. And then while I'm making it, kind of process one thought at a time for that next thing I'll make. So.
Yeah, I watched
That's
you
really
when we were
good.
yarn bombing, and I was sitting there stressing over what do I do? There's so many things I could do, and Lynn's just got her cook and she's just doing it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I gotta just let go and do like the stuff that you know, and then the rest will like come. The ideas will come.
Well, I always say like, so the universe, if you do one step, the universe will do two.
Oh.
So it's like, if I like just like
that.
start a little something,
Yeah.
generally, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
it'll keep going.
I like to like take a step out of what I'm supposed to, like if, let's say I'm supposed to be making pom-poms and I'm like feeling unmotivated.
Yeah.
I like to like, generally I go to oil pastel because like it's just free and it doesn't really matter, you know, it's just for me to just start doing something creative and that kind of sparks and then I end up with something like, ooh, this is beautiful and then it's like, okay, ooh, I can do this with the yarn and just kind of start sparking the ideas and then I'm really motivated to go back to the fiber. So I like to take a step away from the yarn.
That's like play.
Yeah, like play,
It is.
exactly.
I am kind of like London. I have to, if I have like this, just so many things on my to-do list, I have to start with something that's like simple. So most of the time, it's like cleaning. So it's like rubbing down the desks and putting everything away and having like a nice clean slate. Like just getting myself moving and my hands moving, then I'm able to kind of get in that mindset of, okay, let's go.
I also am a little bit like that too. I
Yeah.
like setting up the space gets me
Yeah.
motivated. Like I have like where I set up before I do a pom-pom, like things I need
Yeah.
to put out and put in certain places. So doing that, it's like, all right, now I'm ready to put the pom-pom where it needs to go to be
Yeah.
trimmed. So I gotta start it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that too.
I also the same. Coffee.
Yeah.
As soon as I
Sometimes it's
have that
coffee.
flavor in my mouth in the morning, I'm like, all right, let's go, let's go. Otherwise, I was like, oh.
I don't know. I think a lot of what y'all said is good. Like,
Yeah.
I remember watching Grey's Anatomy when I was doing fiber stuff in school, and rewatching stuff is always an easy go-to because you don't like The Office.
The Office.
The Office,
Repeat.
yeah. I don't even have to look. I know it's Kevin spilling the chili. Like, I know exactly what's happening. So I think probably a combination of everything but cleaning. I could be a little bit more.
When I say clean, I like disinfected wipes and I
Okay.
just wipe the table.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I'm
that's
picturing
that's
like,
as much as it gets.
I'm picturing your like black and white room, like pristine, like you can't even like, I'm picturing like perfect.
Okay, there is so much yarn and fiber and like fuzz everywhere, and I don't know how y'all do it. It's everywhere.
What do y'all think about learning from each other throughout this process? Like what's the significance of that? What are you learning from each other? Can you just like kind of speak on that?
I'm blown away by each and every one of you. Like, it's so cool to see each of your installations, and they're all so different, but yet we're connected with fiber, and it's just like opening my eyes up to so much. I'm so just like happy to be a part of it.
Well, I think y'all are teaching me a skill that I was doing one of my frames last night. I'm like, this could be a new evolution of Alli K design, and then like, that gave me goosebumps. I'm like, y'all
That
are
was giving me
giving that to me of like these skills, and like I just like it could just be a whole. Because I always am like, what's next for Alli K? Like I don't know, and this could be it. So that just like gives me chills, and like I will be forever grateful for that.
I thought that when I saw you bring your frames in today. It's like, this is gonna let her do so many different things.
Yes, yeah, because sometimes I feel very limited to just, because that's what I'm like known for is my line art, and fiber and yarn is very linear when you break it down, so.
I think we're also like, I think we're all riding this train, right? Like we're all learning together.
Yeah.
And I think with us learning together, we're learning from each other in the
Yeah.
process, which is really cool.
Yeah, I think for me it's also just like an amazing thing to have a team working like alongside me and just knowing that like we're all in the same place and we're all trying to meet this deadline.
Yeah. Because a lot of times we're all creating by ourselves, and it's very
You're
lonely.
kind of locked
so-
into your own little
Yeah.
world and you're thinking like it's probably not this hard for everyone else. Why is it so hard for me?
Yeah.
But you just have to remember at the end of the day we all have really similar
Everyone's
struggles.
Yeah, literally.
Honestly,
everyone's
I've had
going
conversations with most of you guys separately about like, and literally you were saying the same exact things. And I'm like, you're not alone. Someone just told me this the other day.